Hello, and welcome to another Let's Play of EarthBound. Wait a second, this isn't an EarthBound. EarthBound's a Super Nintendo game. No, this is in fact Mother 1, the prequel to EarthBound, which of course in Japan is known as Mother 2. Okay, as in Mother 1 is the GBA version, but you know what I mean, and what I'm trying to establish here. Of course, this game has a pretty famous history, this specific version that I'm playing. It is originally an unreleased prototype of an English translation of Mother that was also going to be localized as EarthBound, but the project was wrapping up very late into the NES's life cycle, and it ultimately just got shelved due to, I guess, worry that they wouldn't really recoup their investment of publishing this game. Fast forward many years later, and a prototype copy started circulating around eBay. Someone picked it up, a ROM hacker contacted that person, dumped the ROM, and uploaded it onto the internet under the modified name of EarthBound 0. Fast forward several years after that, 2015 in fact, and Nintendo themselves decided to officially release the previously unreleased prototype, internally just known as EarthBound, which is what it was going to be called, EarthBound with a space, to be specific, and known in both the Virtual Console version and on the Nintendo Switch's online app as EarthBound Beginnings, to better differentiate it from its international sequel. At the file select screen here, as you can see, I've already got an existing file that I could continue, copy, or erase, but it's probably in our best interest to just start up. There is a reason why I'm going over this menu screen, and we are given the choice to name our characters. Unlike EarthBound, where you can just say, don't care, and get your canon names put in that way, we do have to enter our names, but of course I will be going with the names that the characters are officially known as. Our strapping protagonist here is Ninten, obviously a little play on Nintendo. His friend over here is Anna, spelled with one N commonly, though occasionally in official merchandise you'll see it spelled with two. Doesn't really matter too much, we'll just go with the one N spelling for this playthrough. Over here we've got this boy named Lloyd. Lloyd is indeed our boy. So we're just going to get him set up with his name over here, and then we will continue on to the next fellow we need to name, which is Teddy. We won't be seeing this guy for quite a while, and it will be relatively late and also shockingly brief, but we'll get to that when we get to that. One final choice, which I'm actually not sure if there's a canon selection for this one. You can choose your favorite food. No favorite thing to select in this game, just favorite food, and I've always been partial to the za, so we will just go with pizza. Once you've entered all your name selections there, you are ready to go. If you have any second guesses, you can double back and rename some of the things, but I'm good here. Let's just go with this. In the early 1900s, a dark shadow covered a small country town in rural America. At that time, a young married couple vanished mysteriously from their home. The man's name was George. The woman's name was Maria. 2 years later, as suddenly as he left, George returned. He never told anyone where he had been or what he had done, but he began an odd study, all by himself. As for Maria, his wife, she never returned. 80 years have passed since then. And yes, in Mother, the game actually does explicitly take place in America, the United States of America, compared to the fictional counterpart to said country, Eagle Land, featured in EarthBound, and then the Mother 3 just takes place wherever. Anyway, with that rather ominous backstory, we're kind of just thrown into things and not really given much else to go on. But, of course, we can just meander around with controls. This game is heavily crimping from the formula established by Dragon Quest. You press the interact button and you get a command window. You can talk to things, you can check things. If you try to talk or check nothing, you'll get no problem, or who are you talking to? Over here, we've got our goods, which is our items. We have a cash card, which we can use at ATMs in order to withdraw or deposit funds. Not too useful to us right now, but a very important item for the entire game. If you interact with your items, you can attempt to use them, you can attempt to eat them, which, don't be silly, you can't do that with your cash card. I mean, you could, but it probably wouldn't be very good for your digestion. You can give them to other party members when you have them, you can attempt to drop them, but if it is an important item, the game will do you a mercy here and prevent you from throwing it away. And finally, you can look at your items to get either a little bit of flavor text about them or an explanation of what they actually do. Ninten's cash card. Use it for all your banking needs. How nice, how nice. Over here, we've got our state, which shows off our stats. Ninten, as you can see, is a perfectly balanced lad, as all things should be. And what is that over to the right? Telepathy, huh? We also have an equipment menu and melodies. Over here is the PSI menu we previously saw. Right now, Ninten can use telepathy. Yes, Ninten has psychic powers, and he can read minds. This comes up a couple times throughout the game, but is not super important right now. Finally, we have the setup window here. We can reassign our controls as we like, though obviously, as an NES game, Mother does not have too many control options. And you've got your fight message speed. It is an ascending speed here, so the highest number is the fastest. And I'd highly recommend you set it to 5, as the battles can be pretty sluggish at anything lower than 5. But I suppose if you did want to actually stop and read the text, probably set it around 2 or just leave it at 3, and that'll keep the text moving slowly enough that you can keep up with it consistently. Also, what we have here is an option to run. Now, this run function actually works a little deceptively. It is not exactly what it appears to be, and we'll go over how it truly works once we can actually examine how it functions with the rest of the game. With nothing else to do, I guess it's time to go downstairs and talk to Mom. Oh. Hello, what have we got here? Looks like we've got a demonic lamp, and we are thrust into our first battle. As you'd expect for the beginning of an RPG, we don't actually have too many things we can do at the start. Obviously, we can fight, which just allows us to select an enemy to attack. We can attempt to use our PSI, which telepathy does us no good against homicidal lamps. We can use our items. We can set it to auto battle, which will just cause Ninten to automatically queue up his attack action, though this command does work a bit more functionally than you might expect. We'll go over that in due time. You can guard, which will have all incoming damage. Not super useful right now, but is actually an important command to remember once we get more party members. You can attempt to run, which just seems to flip a coin and decide if you ever get a chance to escape. I don't believe you get increased success rate for successive failed running attempts, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Generally, though, I've never failed to run away from a battle after doing it at least 4 times. Finally, we can check out the lamp here. The lamp will launch his attack, and if we check him, we can get his offense, his defense, and a little descriptive text. It hovers in the air. Enemies do have more stats than what the check command shows you. As you can see, we got some smash attacks there, which I'll go over those in due time, but don't worry too much about them. But enemies obviously have HP. They also have the mysterious PP stat that Ninten also has. That's short for psychic points. Not every enemy is capable of using psychic powers, but there are a handful who are equally capable as Ninten of using psychic abilities, and they will have PP stats in order to fuel their psychic abilities. Over here, we've got Ninten's sister, if I can talk to her. The NPCs sometimes like to run from you. Brother, I'm so scared. The lamp seems to be alive. This is Ninten's sister, Minnie, and she is also having problems with her lamp. You can combat the lamp simply by walking into it, and again, we don't really have much in the way of options, so we will just do auto battle here. Like I was saying, enemies do have stats beyond what we see. They have their HP and their PP. They also have fight and wisdom stats, much like Ninten has fight and wisdom stats. We'll go over what all the stats in this game do in due time, but for right now, that's just the nitty-gritty I want to explain of enemies. We will see what these stats actually affect. Note that enemies, of course, since I didn't mention them, have strength and force stats. Those is something not available to them. Over here, we've got Ninten's other sister, Mimi. Help me! She's a little less loquacious than the red counterpart. It is convenient when the identical twins come out as different colors. Makes it a little bit easier to differentiate them. Anyways, we've got a doll here. Take a quick look at this. The doll is not too threatening, but it is a bit sturdier than the lamp. All it does is stare back at us. And yes, the doll will continue to keep up its onslaught, but again, in lieu of better options, we will just keep doing auto battle. It is possible to get unlucky enough that Ninten could miss attacks, you could get repeatedly smashed attack, and you could lose here, but if you do die, you just end up getting sent back to your room, and you get to go at the doll again. You may be wondering how smash attacks work. What are those? Are those like critical hits? Smash attacks are actually defense-piercing attacks. I'm not sure if they pierce the entirety of an enemy's defense or just a portion of it, but regardless, if you're doing low damage to an enemy and you hit them with a smash attack, you will do considerably more damage. Contrawise, if you are doing sufficient damage to an enemy already, smash attacks actually can have a surprisingly minimal effect. To my knowledge, they don't actually apply any kind of additional damage multiplier. Defeating the doll gets us 10 experience points and an additional experience level, and all our stats begin to go up. Our fight goes up, our speed goes up, our wisdom goes up, our strength goes up, and our force goes up. And if we're lucky enough, we'll get some additional hit points and some additional psychic points. Actually, a surprisingly strong first level there. You don't usually get that much from them. The phenomenon has stopped for a moment. Note that what wasn't displayed in that level up screen is that our offense and our defense have also gone off. Obviously, these are derived statistics, but what do they derive from? Again, we'll go over that in due time. Over here, let's talk to Mimi. I was scared to death. Oh, wow, check out what's hidden inside the doll. Well, that sounds like a hint if I've ever heard one. If you head over and check the doll, inside the doll, Ninten spotted an old music box. As the music box wound up, a melody began to play. Ninten remembered the tune, and yes, if we go back to our status screen, we've got a singular melody. It, of course, seems that there are 8 to collect throughout the game, but what exact purpose do they serve? Oh, it's gonna be a little bit before we figure that out. Heading over here, Minnie will be in much better spirits now that she's not being attacked by an evil lamp. Brother, here's some juice. You are thirsty, aren't you? And yes, right now, and specifically right now, Minnie will give us infinite orange juice. If we drink the orange juice, you can see that we get 9 to about 11 hit points back when we drink it. Like Dragon Quest at the time, the healing spells and items, attack spells, they do a range of damage rather than deriving from any kind of damage or healing, rather than deriving from any specific formula. So yeah, we can keep taking orange juice and keep healing up. You can also eat the orange juice. Ninten will just pop that in his mouth, box and all. Any kind of food or drink restorative can be used either via the use or eat command. For the most part, these commands are redundant, but there is one specific item in the game that will function completely differently depending on whether you use or eat it. I'm going to take a bunch of free juice from Minnie here, specifically because we don't have much in the way of healing options at this point, so having a few orange juices on hand will help out quite a bit, and that also, having 4 specifically, leaves me enough inventory slots for everything that I want to pick up in the near future. Note that you can only hold 8 items at a time. Mom, things have gotten a little weird here. Ninten, are you alright? Egad, what's happening to our house? I wish your dad were here now. Maybe. Telephone! Ninten, please get it. I have to do everything, Mom. Anyways, Ninten grabbed the telephone. This is your dad. Well, seems like a poltergeist. I'm not exactly sure how to. But your great-great-grandfather or your great-grandfather studied PSI. You might find something in the basement to help. But I left the basement key someplace. I can't remember exactly where. Anyhow, son, you're my only hope. It's time for you to go on a little adventure. And explore the potential of your powers. Powers not to be taken lightly. Ninten, go for it. But remember to come back and check on your family. Bye. Oh, and phone me and I will save your progress. Call me whenever you want. Slam. Oh, Dad is very much not one to mince words, is he? Anyway, like he said, we can call him back immediately. Ninten grabbed the telephone. This is your dad. I've transferred $50 into your account. After the amount you've spent, the balance is $50. So yes, we do also get money in addition to experience points for defeating enemy, but we do not get the cash directly. I guess the world of Mother has a very robust bounty hunting system that our dad is actively tracking for us, and whenever the cash hits his account, he just transfers it over to ours, and we can grab it wherever we can find an ATM. There is one alternate method for getting cash, but we'll go over that in due time also. Spend your money wisely. Well, the next level requires 18 for Ninten. Yes, Father will also inform us of the experience required to reach the next level, not something you'll see on your status screen. By the way, do you want to save? And I would like to. Okay, but I was thinking of going to sleep now. I've saved your progress so far. Good night. Nah, we want to continue. If you choose the rest, Dad will instead tell you to reset the console to make sure that your save is properly backed up to the battery. Not something I really need to worry about on an emulator, though. We're just going to continue. Just like your mom, you never want to stop. Pause, father. You might want to reword that. Please don't push yourself so hard. Slam. Oof, rude. Anyway, like he said, we need to enter the basement, but the door is locked. Where can we possibly find the key, though? Well, if we head out here, we can talk to our doggy real quick. Ninten's telepathy allows him to converse with animals. He can converse with animals. Tell you a secret. Why don't you check me out? Bow wow. Okay, well, let's take a good check at the dog. There on the dog's collar was the basement key. Ninten got the basement key. And we get our next, well, key item of the game, the basement key. Note that Minnie has now moved from her room and has begun to occupy the living room. And she gains a new function here. I am Minnie. What can I do for you? She will carry or store any items that we don't need. For key items that you can't sell or throw away, this is a good way to clear them out of your inventory when you've accomplished everything you needed to with them. We're going to use this service for the basement key that we just got once we're done with it. See you later, brother. You take care. And note that now that Minnie has moved out to the living room, Mimi's dialogue has also changed. No, I'm Mimi. Don't confuse me with Minnie. And she proceeds to do nothing for the entire rest of the game. Sad for Mimi. Mimi fans just stay losing here. Anyways, once again, walking through the door to confirm that yes, it is indeed locked, we will use our basement key here and go on inside. There are several items waiting for us in the basement. The most critical one we can find here is the great-grandfather's diary. Ninten got great-grandfather's diary. We will just take a quick look at that. There are 2 bits of text you can get from it. First, by using it. The diary is hard to read, but open up to this page. Password. The one who lost the tale. The forgotten one. The ship that sails. And if you look at it, Great-grandfather's diary. It is old, ragged, and filled with entries. Fascinating. Let's look at this one over here, and we will find a plastic bat. Plastic bat is our first weapon, and it is not a super impressive one. It only gives us 3 additional attack power, so when we check our status there, you'll see we have an offense of 10 now. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Unlike EarthBound, equipped items do not take up space in your inventory, which is very much appreciated since we have much less inventory space to work with in this game. The final item we can get here is a pretty interesting one. Bread. Bread is the item that I was talking about that can be used in different ways depending on whether you use or eat it. And for the most part, we're going to want to utilize the use function of it. Now I'm going to start running around in the basement real quick, because we can find that we have a bit of a rat problem in the basement. These rats are incredibly weak, with only about 10 hit points, and they only deal 1 damage to Ninten, making them very easy to kill. But they give an appreciable amount of experience points for this stage of the game, 3. They don't result in very much money, which is a little problematic in its own way, but they are a very safe thing to get to level 3 against, so that's what I'm going to do right now, because this is a very old RPG, and a lot of times there will be forced level grinding to make sure you can actually survive in the coming areas. While we're doing a little bit of grinding, I may as well break down some of the statistics, and we'll just take this a little bit at a time so I'm not info dumping too much. Let's go over the fight stat. The fight stat is actually the basis for our offense stat. When the fight stat goes up from leveling, and it's very particular or specific that I have to be that specific about it, is fight from leveling, you will gain an equivalent amount of offense. So our fight stat is 7, our base offense stat is 7. Fight also determines the rate that you get smash attacks. Your smash attacks, of course, determine vis-a-vis the enemy's own fight stat. The higher your fight is relative to theirs, the more likely you are to get a smash attack, and it also determines your resistance to smash attacks. So it's quite a versatile and powerful stat that will make you more offensively potent and potentially give you more defense, because smash attacks can be pretty devastating. Now note right there that the rat uttered dirty words to lower our fight stat. Remember how I said that it is fight gained from leveling that is the only thing that matters towards your offense stat? Having your fight stat debuffed like this will make you less likely to do smash attacks and make you more susceptible to receiving smash attacks, but it will not lower your offense, so it's really a pretty unthreatening debuff. It's actually very convenient that the rat did that for me. Anyways, I'm just gonna finish up the grinding here, and then we can continue on. And at 30 experience, we reach level 3. Now, besides the litany of stat points that we gain, there is another thing that can potentially happen once we reach level 3, if we're lucky. Unfortunately, we were not lucky, and that could potentially be problematic, but I'm not super concerned about it. We'll just go over it when it comes up. Now that we don't need the basement key anymore, we've already gotten every item that we need from it, we can just deposit the basement key with Minnie, since we're otherwise not allowed to get rid of it. Note that it's gonna be a while before we need the great-grandfather's diary, so you could leave that with Minnie also and save it for when you need to come back for it. But we aren't really going to be picking up too many items in the near future, so I'll just hang on to it for now. Next up, we want to talk to Mother. Son of mine, you are braver than I thought. I can't let you go on a journey so famished. I'll cook pizza. Eat your dinner and rest for the night. And yes, every time we talk to our mother, she will cook us a meal and give us a free place to stay. Hotels are pretty expensive, so this is a very much appreciated way to regain power. Incidentally, it'll also fully restore our psychic points, which, if we happen to get knocked out, we will be set back to 0 psychic points, so always be sure to talk to your mother after getting knocked out, if you get knocked out, to replenish your psychic points. When you want to eat pizza again, just come back here. I will. Now we can head out into the big wide world, and there is actually another button we can go over here. By pressing the start button, you can bring up a world map, and as you can see, we've got a litany of punny towns that we will eventually be visiting all of these places. As you can see, Ninten hails from the Podunk little burg of Podunk. And we have a number of holiday-themed towns to go to, such as Marysville, Reindeer, and Snowman. I guess Snowman's more of a vague winter theme. We also have the town of Spokane, which I guess is supposed to be like Spokane, Washington, but a little scary. We have the Union Station, so I guess Marysville is an incorporation surrounding Chicago, Youngtown, and LA. LA is not super obvious what it's supposed to be a pun on right now, but it is intended to be in reference to Los Angeles. We'll get to why later. Somewhat ironically, while the real LA is located about as southwest as you can go in the United States, LA in the world of Mother is instead located in the most northeastern part of the map. Funny how that works. Heading out into the big wide world, hold on, let's check this sign here. Ninten's house, how nice to know. We will continue on and actually reach Podunk proper, but remember, as soon as you clear Ninten's yard, you have the potential to get into encounters. The way the game determines if you get into an encounter, there does seem to be a sort of danger value system where the encounter rate in various areas, or different areas, varies a bit, but it does seem that the game selects the number of steps you're going to take to get into an encounter after you finish the previous battle you were just in, so you do have times, quite frequently in fact, where you will get into an encounter within 1 to 4 steps of the last encounter you got into, just because you got unlucky with what the RNG decided. This lady seems to be in a bit of a panic. Oh, what can I do? What should I do? Where can I go? Who can I see? What should I do? What should I do? My little Pippi is gone. If you're going to Podunk, please tell the mayor. Oh me, oh my. Alright, we've got a missing girl. We're actually having pretty good luck with encounters, but we've gotten into one. Ooh, this is one of the more dangerous guys we can run into. Wally. He's a reasonably powerful foe and can potentially be problematic if you run into him at level 2, but at level 3, his damage is more than manageable. One thing to note about him, though, is that he can throw himself into a rage and double his offense, which makes the strength of his attacks, his flesh-colored pitchfork, stab so much harder, so be wary if he does that, and be prepared to use your orange juice at a moment's notice, but he gives a good 5 experience and also a pretty decent amount of money for defeating him, so we'll be hoping to run into him very frequently. Over here, welcome to Podunk. There are, of course, people to talk to within each town. Did the Poltergeist visit your house? It tore mine apart. Looks like we weren't the only one having ghost problems. Heading over here, you'll note this house has a distinct rounded door with a mouse in it. Hehe, I'm the noisy mouse. Some buildings you can enter, some you cannot. If the door is round or has a sign, go on inside. The rest of the doors will not open for you. Bye. And yes, that is just explaining to you which buildings you can actually enter. So, buildings with these rectangular doors, just set dressing. Anyways, let's get around these surprisingly sturdy flowers. Don't tell me you've been south to the cemetery. Why, what's wrong with the cemetery? Over here, we've got this old lady. Someone must be controlling the dead. Okay, there's quite a lot going on in town, I can tell. Must be more than just Poltergeist. If we head over to the east here, once again, once you're outside of the town area, you will be at risk of encounters, like here. Hey, another Wally. We will just go into auto battle and let things settle, though if he decides to boost his offense, I will drop back into controlling manually. We're going to be doing a lot of one-on-one encounters for this stage of the game, so you can just safely auto battle most things, and I'm having pretty lousy luck hitting this guy here. Fortunately, he's not boosting his offense, so I'm not particularly threatened by him. Wally flew into a rage. There we go. Okay, now we are going to drop back into manual control and see what happens here. Let's see. Ooh, 13 damage. We should be able to, as long as we don't miss, smash attack makes sure we don't miss, we will be able to defeat him, get another 5 experience points, and oof, still having bad luck. Something can happen once you hit level 3. Going to utilize orange juice here. And going to utilize another one, because we took a pretty nasty beating there. If we take a look at this sign right here, Podunk West, Marysville to the east. And if we talk to these cops over here, hey, another new enemy, Centipede, the least valuable enemy that you can run into, worth only 1 experience point and $1. So you're hoping you don't run into too many of these guys, because they are mostly just a waste of your time, especially when they dodge your attacks and just prolong the battle. But that's not that big a deal. We've almost got this guy taken care of, slowly chipping me down. But there is one potential benefit to getting into this battle. It's an easy battle to win. Okay, we didn't get it. Talk to the police officers here till the curfew is lifted and no one can cross. That is by order of the town mayor. Psst, by the way, kid, they might let you cross the bridge northeast of the zoo. Sounds like a hint to me. But yes, we currently cannot reach Marysville, which honestly is fine, because we'd otherwise run into some pretty dangerous enemies that Nintendo would not fare so well against. As you can imagine, the further we get into the game, the nastier the enemies get. We're not going to be constantly dealing with just centipedes. And that is a pretty potent smash attack there. I appreciate it, Nintendo. There we go! That's what I was hoping to see. When you reach certain levels, you have a chance from that point onward to randomly gain a PSI power at the end of the battle. You do not gain your PSI's powers directly when you hit the requisite level. For reaching level 3, every successive battle, Nintendo has a chance to learn Life Up Alpha, his first healing spell. Life Up Alpha heals between about 24 to 36 hit points. You're really hoping you hit that higher 30 end range, but sometimes you'll have to cast it multiple times to get adequate healing. Right now we have pretty low HP, so a single use of Life Up will generally fully restore us. Let's talk to this fellow over here. Zombies may be anywhere in this town. Zombies? Be honest, you're a zombie, aren't you? Nah. Are you really human? Yes. It's amazing how you came here. And if we instead just lie to him, yeah, I'm a zombie. There's no cure for zombies. And he just skedaddles. Kinda rude, honestly. Hello, lady. The animals went mad and out of control. The dead became zombies and began attacking people. What can be done? Sounds like Podunk is having its share of problems right now. Pretty severe ones. The Canary village is northwest from here. It's a nice place to visit, and admission is free. Well, you know, I could go for a nice relaxing walk through the Canary village. What have you got to say, my friend? The town mayor is looking for a brave man. Well, will he settle for a brave boy? The receptionist at City Hall is so gorgeous. Hey, come on, keep yourself objectively minded. We've got a couple of different buildings we can go into. Over here, we've got a burger shop. My, you're that snot-nosed Nintendo who sat next to me in kindergarten. How old are you, lady? Nintendo is supposed to be 12, but somehow this girl has managed to land a part-time job at the age of 12 herself. Anyway, the burger shop will allow you to, of course, buy things like burgers, and also, soft drinks like the orange juice in order to restore your HP. I don't really make use of it, but it is there. Over here, we've got the hotel. And some people to talk to. The room rate at this hotel is so inexpensive, and that's not where it stops being cheap either. Everybody's a critic. Whenever you get tired, just drop by our inn. And if we talk to this guy, we will find out that a night at the inn is $39. Pretty nasty markup, considering it's just as effective as going back to Mom, who will heal us up for free. Over here, we've got the department store, but we'll wait a second before we go into that. And this building right here is City Hall. The city of Podunk. We'll probably go in and talk to the mayor in due time, but let's round up the chaff from the general citizenry. The gentleman in Canary Village is my idol. Wonder who she's talking about. It's convenient that the cash machine is next to the service counter, but why should I care? I don't have a card for it. Well, I do, and I do care. We should probably get some money at some point. The animals went mad and began to escape, so the zoo was locked. And you over here, to eat you'll find bread stale, but with its crumbs you can mark your trail. Do you think I talk too much? Well, do I? Well, actually, I found that to be pretty insightful. Yes, if you eat bread, it will heal for the same amount as a life up spell, so between 24 and about 36 hit points, but if you use it, Ninten started dropping the crumbs, and you will get crumbs into your inventory. Now, at any point going forward, if you use the crumbs, you will warp back to the spot where you tore apart the bread. And there is no limit to the distance you can travel with crumbs in effect, nor is there really a limit on the distance you can warp with crumbs, with one exception that we'll get into later. So I'm just going to drop these breadcrumbs here, because we will eventually want to warp directly back to Podunk. Over here, this person actually has something pretty interesting to say. Hey Ninten, how's your asthma? Mine has gotten better, but car exhaust still set it off. So yes, Ninten suffers from asthma, and there are enemies that will exploit this. It is pretty nasty if you have your asthma exploited. We'll almost certainly see that at least once before this LP is over. Has the little girl who strayed into the cemetery been rescued? Getting more dangling plot threads here. Over here, we've got a hospital. The nurse at the front will allow you to recover any fainted party members. Obviously not a service we need at this point because we have no party members. Often behind the nurse, you will find a doctor who will heal any status ailment that you may be suffering from. There are some status ailments that can only be cured by a doctor. Well, one status ailment that can only be cured by a doctor. So keep that in mind if you happen to be afflicted by it. Over here, we've got the City Hall. I'll share the secret with you later. I don't know if that's something that can ever be followed up on. Over here, we've got Abbott, the mayor's assistant. I'm not the town mayor, but his assistant. Mr. Mayor is over there, and let's talk to Mr. Mayor. Citizen, I know how you would like to help your town. Well, a child has strayed into the cemetery, and I'm up for re-election soon. You must help. Please help me. Fine. Oh, you'll go there and save her? Return her to me alive, and surely I'll be a hero. You'll be a hero. Yes, we've got our first quest. Go to the cemetery and rescue the girl. I have to imagine, though, that place is rife with the dead. Before we do that, though, there's something we can take care of at the department store. There's a number of things we can make use of at the department store. A payphone that costs $1 to use that will allow us to call our dad. The service counter will allow us to return items for money at half their purchase price. And the ATM over here will let us withdraw any money we have. We have a drugstore that sells various status cures and occasionally some healing items. Sports goods, which this one actually sells something I care about. What can I sell you? She sells a wooden bat for $500. This is 4 times the attack power of the plastic bat, so it is a pretty sizable upgrade. There's also a slingshot that's a little bit more expensive than a plastic bat and is slightly stronger. I believe it's about 5 attack power, and notably it is not a Ninten exclusive weapon. It can be used by anybody in the game, but at this point you'd only really be able to use it with Ninten, of course. I'm not going to bother with the slingshot, but we do eventually want to get the $500 necessary to buy the wooden bat. It will be the strongest weapon we have access to for quite some time. Over here is a foods counter, where the most notable thing you can buy from the foods counter is more bread. Finally, we have a pet store on the final floor. What do you got for me, lady? I think something is controlling the animals. And this guy over here, got any pets you can sell me? Look for yourself, all the animals have escaped. Only this canary chick is left. Want to buy it? Well, I wonder how far I can stretch my $0. Well, how about 85? I think we can haggle with this guy. If it's free, do you want it? Then take it. And yes, if you offer to express interest in buying the canary chick, but refuse to actually pay the guy's price, he'll just give it to you for free, saving you a pretty sizable amount of money, honestly. $85 is nothing to sneeze at this point in the game. With the canary chick in tow, we're actually able to complete yet another quest real quick. So, let's make our way over here, and remember, the Canary village that was mentioned, it's to the northwest of Podunk. If you go left from this sign here, you'll find another sign. No hunting. Approaching the Canary Village Wildlife Refuge. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. And following this trail, just another centipede wasting my time. Let's continue on and hopefully run into some new enemies. Nope, just Wally again. But with all our healing items and, oh dear, that's actually potentially a problem. Let's drop back into auto. Now that we have life up, we can actually adequately recover from Wally's attacks. Note that Ninten is a fair deal faster than Wally, so we can always consistently heal up. Once you fall under 20 HP, just use life up alpha, and your HP will be maxed out. Oof. That's a pretty sizable amount of damage from Wally there. Yeah, this guy can be pretty dangerous if you get unlucky, and I have gotten a little unlucky here. But again, we're faster than him, so as long as we keep our HP topped off when we fall under a certain threshold, we will do just fine against him. I should be able to defeat him with just one more attack. Unless he gets a smash attack, we are in the clear here. And yes, I'll also use up the rest of those orange juices there. Note that there is an enemy that can potentially steal the orange juices from you, so you want to make sure you use them up early when you take that damage. The maximum they can heal is 11, so if you are 11 under your maximum HP, just use an orange juice. There are enemies besides Wally and centipedes, and I'm hoping that we run into some of them eventually. Once we make it to the Canary Village Wildlife Refuge, we get a bit of a break here, as no enemies will appear in this refuge. Very nice, very tranquil place. Most of the canaries are fairly taciturn, as you'd expect, but hey, Nintendo can talk to animals, so you'd think you'd be able to glean at least something from them. But no, most of these canaries have nothing to say. If we head over this way... Looks like there's a canary outside the perimeter of the refuge. Don't know how we can get to her, though. And over here, this must be the man at the Canary Village that one girl was talking about. Wow, that canary is the baby of singing Laura. Will you return her baby to her? Yeah, I'll do it. Where is Laura? And yes, if you have the canary chick, this guy will comment on it and mention that it belongs to the canary Laura. If you do not have the chick, he'll instead lament the loss of the canary chick. Now, this little monolith here, you probably noticed, different color, to communicate that you can go behind it and actually walk through the refuge wall here. And if we talk to this canary chick, I am Laura. If you present the canary chick to Laura at this point, overjoyed with her reunion, Laura began singing. We get our second melody there. Nintendo remembered the tune. So we're already halfway to completing that quest. Now with that taken care of, the next order of business is to get to the cemetery. However, we're not going to pull off any miracles if we get to the cemetery at this point. We actually want to stop and do another bit of training. The bare minimum we need to get is to get to level 5. However, if we can get enough money to get the wooden bat while we're at it, new enemy here, Stray Dog. This guy is actually pretty weak. He doesn't hit that hard, as you can see, only 2 damage to you, but he gives a very solid 4 experience. The Stray Dog is also the first enemy we come across that can potentially drop an item. There are many enemies in this game, well, okay, a handful of enemies in this game that can potentially drop items, but item drop rates are very low, and the actual value of the items that can potentially be drops varies pretty heavily as well, so we didn't get the item from the Stray Dog, but occasionally you'll get a little goodie from him. So in order to effectively train, we're going to make our way back towards Ninten's house, and we're mostly going to focus on dealing with enemies that just approach us from around here. There are more worthwhile enemies in terms of experience, but they are by the cemetery, and that is a long way from any free healer. So I am going to, well, first off, I'm going to heal up at Ninten's house, and then I'm going to look for a specific enemy, and while I'm doing my training, I figured, why don't we take a little look at the original release of this game, Mother for the Famicom. So let me get the encounter I'm looking for first, and then we'll move into that. Actually, I may as well show any enemy we haven't seen. We've got another humanoid enemy here, the Hippie. The Hippie is somewhat less dangerous version of Wally. He has more experience and money, but he has a wider array of actions that he can take that make him surprisingly less threatening in general. He can fly into a rage like Wally can to double his offense, but he also has a status-afflicting skill that can potentially backfire on him. He gives, or he can also just meditate and do nothing. And yes, there are many enemies in this game who famously can just do nothing at all and waste their turn, giving you a free opportunity to beat them down with no fear of taking any damage. Took a surprisingly long time for me to run into this guy, but we've officially seen all enemies here, and this is the Crow. This is the guy who can steal any healing consumable from your inventory, so if you have breads and OJs, he can steal them and you permanently lose them. Very annoying guy. There is another reason I want to show this guy off, though. Nice, just absolutely obliterate him with a smash attack. He only gives 3 experience, and he's surprisingly durable, honestly. It's not a very desirable enemy to run into. As you can see there, he also readied for an attack. That is communicating that the enemy is guarding and halving the damage that they will take. Hey, nice, got our next level up there. Alright, with that taken care of, I still need to gain 1 more level up, so I will take care of that, and let's go take a look at Mother 1 while we're at it. or Mother Famicom, rather, as you can see from the title screen here. Moving into the file select screen, there are actually some changes to note right away. You'll notice that the file select has a separate option on it. This is actually your message speed, and you have 3 choices of message speeds in the game. I have a variety of save states at the ready here, so let's just load into the first save state here. As you can see, at the end of the naming input screen for your characters, you get your message speed choice here. You can set it to ordinary, you can set it to delayed, or you can set it to fast. Each one of these is analogous to something on the number scale. Ordinary is 3, delayed is 1, and fast is 5. Obviously, if you want to get through the game at a brisk pace, just like in EarthBound Beginnings, you will want to set the fast message speed. Moving on to the next save state that I have here, we will load into Nintendo's room, and there are some changes to note right away. First off, the B button in this version brings up your status screen. Famously, Mother for the Famicom does not have the run function, so you do have to deal with the default sluggish walking speed throughout the game, and I actually did neglect to mention something about the run button in EarthBound Beginnings, so while I'm at it, it's actually not a true run button. Instead, it is a sort of debugging feature that doubles the game of the speed. If you were paying close attention while I was running around, you could notice that things were moving much faster while I was also running, and that's due to the speed doubling effect of the run button. And there are actually some other ways that you can utilize that to speed things up in the game, but we'll go over that in due time. If we bring up our action menu here, you'll see we're missing 2 choices. There is no state menu in here, because you just bring it up with the B button in this version, and there is no settings menu, so you cannot modify your message speed while you're in the game, nor can you rebind your controls at all. Again, it's a Famicom game, so only 4 buttons to work with anyway, not really that big a deal, but it is an interesting change nonetheless, and it's one of those things that's not commonly thought about when discussing changes between the 2 versions of the game, but the EarthBound Beginnings version of Mother is a more polished and complete version of the game, in many more ways than you might expect. There are, of course, some ways that are pretty well known. Additionally, if you interact with your items here, you'll see that you have the use option, the eat option, the give option, and the drop option, but no look option. All of the flavor text for every item in the game is actually a new invention for the EarthBound Beginning version, though a lot of this stuff was backported into the Game Boy Advance port of the game, Mother 1+2. That's all I really want to talk about in this room, so let me load up my next save state over here. Oh, that was, the wrong one, I think. Or did I just, accidentally, oversave that? Oh no, here it is. Okay, so in the basement, there's actually a different item here. If we check the gift box, we will get a map instead of a piece of bread. Yes, the map is actually not mapped to your start button by default. It is a usable item. You can use it out in the overworld, just like how you can check the map on the field in EarthBound Beginnings. And this actually leads into the next set of changes here. If you look at the map, you will see that every area has a different name. Well, most areas have different names. Reindeer and Snowman have the same names in Mother, but all of the towns have more distinct holiday theme naming to them, such as Podunk being Mother's Day, Marysville being Thanksgiving, Union Station being the Santa Claus Station, the town of Youngtown being Easter instead, and the town of LA being Valentine. So some of these town names, yeah, obviously just being holidays, a little goofy, but I do think the theming is a little bit cute. Just a fun little change to remark on there. Loading up our next save state. We've got the Crow over here, and you may notice something a bit distinct about him. He's holding a cigarette. As a little bit of censorship for EarthBound Beginnings, they couldn't depict smoking for that version of the game, so the cigarette was airbrushed out of the Crow's sprite. While we're in a battle, this actually allows me to funnel into another bit of polish existing in EarthBound Beginnings that is not present in the Famicom version of Mother. When you check enemies, you do not actually get any descriptive text for them. That was also something that was invented for EarthBound Beginnings, which was then backported into the GBA port. So again, another one of those ways in which the game was slightly unfinished that you might not actually realize just by playing EarthBound Beginnings. Moving on to this save state right here. This one's kind of funny. It is not really anything super notable. I just think it's kind of amusing. If you talk to the girl who tutorializes Nintendo's asthma for you in EarthBound Beginnings, She doesn't mention asthma at all, actually. She's just hungry. Yeah, that's all she has to say in this version. Not really anything groundbreaking, I just thought it was a little funny. Moving on. Actually, I remembered what that save state I overwrote was. Just a very, minor change, but something to note. When you learn Melodies in Mother 1 for the Famicom, you still hear the melody, but that weird strobing effect that goes along with learning it, that was an addition in EarthBound Beginnings. Honestly, I don't really care for the flashing lights in EarthBound Beginnings, so I kind of prefer that there's no strobing effect in this version, but I guess it does make it more poignant when you actually get a melody in EarthBound Beginnings. With that taken care of, let's get back to the end of the grind. Another new enemy that I didn't run into while previously doing my training is a snake. These guys are pretty weak and only give 2 experience points, so not really worth your time to run into, but it is another new enemy, so while I'm encountering things, I may as well show it off, right? And remember how I said the auto battle function has a bit more functionality than you might expect to it? While generally your characters will just launch attacks while in auto battle, if anybody is at critical health and a character has a healing skill, they will instead use the healing skill to help out the critically wounded character. Or in this case, Ninten will use the healing skill to help out himself. So you can really just let auto battle carry you through these simplistic battles if you so desire. And I am finally done with my training, reaching level 5. Unfortunately, we are $90 short of being able to afford a wooden bat, but it is not critical for the upcoming area, and we will be able to get through it just fine with these stats. Our psychic points is a little on the low side, but it should still be adequate enough. Note that we also got some new PSI powers while I was training. Healing Alpha will restore, or rather cure us from the poison status, while Hypnosis attempts to inflict sleep on the enemy. We'll go over how exactly that works next time. I think for now we can call this a video. When we return, we will be going to the cemetery to rescue the lost girl. Hopefully we don't run into too many zombies. See you then.
I don't dispute the doubts you've outlined, but it's my right to waste your time.